Hi, my name is Ming Lo, and today we're going to take a look at the SK2V series strobe from Godox. Now, I just got this in the mail, and I did get it sent to me for review, in full disclosure, but that's not going to affect my opinion on this. So, okay, let's jump right in. This is a new box. Let's take a look inside. Alright, so here it is. Here's the box. We're going to open it. I have opened it. I confess I cheated already. So let's take a look inside, okay? This is what's inside the box. A little styrofoam. And so they actually gave me some filters, which is kind of cool. I didn't actually realize that that was coming. So the set looks like a full range of colors. There is the strobe itself. And one of the first things I noticed is that it's actually really light. So that's kind of a good thing. It's fairly long. And of course, it's got a little switch here for taking off the cover. And there's the light itself. And this is a standard Bowens mount. There you go. And looking around, there's a little light back here. We're going to go through this in a second. And then of course you have the attachment for a tripod. Let's put that away. And also, there's of course a reflector. And then the cord. Anything else? I think we have some fuses, which, okay, I hope I remember where I put this because I always forget where to put these things. And then the instruction manual, and then a little bit of a cloth by Letwing. I don't know who they are. But anyway, doesn't hurt to have these. Okay, there you go. So that's it for the box. Okay, so I've got the strobe set up on a stand. I'm going to show you this and zoom in on this so you can see this in more detail. But there's a couple things I wanted to mention first. You'll notice that it did not come with a bag or a carrying bag, which would have been nice, but honestly it probably just depends on the price. It would be nice to have, but it's not critical by any means. The second thing is you'll notice that it's wired. So there's no battery here. So you can't really, take it outside without some kind of power source. So for me, this is actually more of a studio strobe than an outdoor one because I do have other strobes that actually have batteries built in. Again, not a big problem. You just have to be aware that this is where you probably use it. The third thing, which they actually point out in their printed advertising, is that it does not come with high-speed sync. And at first, to be honest, I was a little disappointed in that, but thinking about it, if I'm in a studio and I'm shooting with this, then I don't really need high-speed sync. Really, you need high-speed sync outdoors for things like the sun, or you're in bright sun and you want to blur the background with a low aperture, all these kinds of things. In a studio, I don't really care that much. I mean, I actually have a set of old Chromes that I work with, and on those I'm shooting between 1/100th and 1/200th, or usually 1/125th or 1/160th. So, I mean, this is pretty similar. It doesn't really make that much of a difference to me when I'm in the studio. So, thinking about it, not that big a deal. So I just wanted to point out those three things because those are the things that struck me in the beginning. And then I thought about it, it's like, not really a big deal. All right, now let's take a look. We're going to zoom in and take a look at this panel and see what's there. So now we've got this zoomed in and you can see the back of the panel. You probably can't see this, but this actually says set on this button right here. So that is your set button. So if you're moving things around and you want to lock it in, then you hit set. So let's start just straight left to right. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 buttons here. And let's take a look at it. This is a group channel button right here. So you'll see if I push it, there's a B, C here that changes. So you got A, B, C, D, E, and then F. So A, B, C, D, E, F, and then we'll see how far it goes. 1 to 9 and A to F. And let's say I want to sit on B, So you see that, I don't know if you can see it there, but it is flashing. And then if I hit set over here, then that's going to stop flashing. Okay? I suspect, so this dial will turn and tell you the power. And of course there's a beep that goes with it so you can tell how much you're doing. But here's 1 is full power, and this goes to 1/16. So, I mean, some of the, if you're familiar with Godox and the others, some of them go to 1256, I think, is that correct? But 1/16, 132, 164, so it doesn't go that far, it goes to 1/16. So it does have a limited range, so that's something to note. But again, it's hard to say if that's critical. To be honest, I haven't really tested this to see if that's critical or not. So that's one thing that you will have to consider when you look at this. So the second button here is an S1, S2 button. Now, I believe when the S1, S2 are off, there's no optical slave function when this is off. And then if you hit S1, that's actually the optical slave. That's what I use most of the time. In S2, it is used in a manual mode according to the instruction manual. What happens is that S2 is good for when other flashes have a pre-flash function. And this will allow it to ignore the pre-flash. To be honest, I haven't used it and I haven't tested it, so I don't know how that works. I'm not too familiar with what situation I would be in, but basically for my own purposes, I'd probably be in S1 most of the time, or no slave function. Also, the next button here, this is the buzz, so this will turn off the beeping sound that you've heard. So let's see, there's the beep. Now if I hit that, there's no longer a beep. I personally prefer the beeps so that I know that I hit something or didn't hit something, because sometimes you try to make changes and the beep for me confirms the beep. The fourth button here is the modifier light. So hold on, let's push this. There you go. So if I take off this, there you go. So you should be able to see the modifier lamp here. That's the brightest. So it's off. 1, 2, off. So there you go. And the last one, this last button here is the test. So if we hit it, it should just flash. There you go. There you go. Cool. So one of the things I like to do is I like to take this to, let's say, the lowest power and see how fast it goes, right? So on low power, you can flash this pretty quickly. Now, as we all know, when we get to high power, this is going to be less. That's probably almost a full second, give or take. So just know that when you're at high power on this, it does take a moment for this thing to be ready to fire the second flash. So the last couple of things that I'd like to cover. This is the group channel. So we went over the groups, and the channel is up here. You can see it's set to 17. You actually have to hit this group channel and this set button together, and this will start to flash. And of course, you can move it around. Right now, I've set this to 17. I'm going to leave it there. And that's for some kind of wireless trigger. So one of the great things about the Godox and the flash points is that they use the same system. And so I have here a little trigger. I don't know if you can see all the settings on it, but I have it set to channel A, 1/16. Channel 17, group A, 1/16. And so if I hit this, this should flash. And there you go. And that works fine. There's also, of course, a 3.5 millimeter sync button here. This is actually a wireless port control. Now, I've actually never seen one of these, and to be honest, I'm not sure what you would use this with. This looks like a USB. But, you know, I'll leave that there. For now, basically one of these triggers or a similar trigger will work just fine, so I don't know if I will even ever use this, but something to play with at one point in time. So, I'm happy with this and just using this and knowing that it works. So that's it. Pretty much a quick review of a basic, simple kind of light. Question, should you get this thing? Well, you know, I thought about this, and if you buy a light, a Monolight or a Strobe with a battery, you know, case and all these kinds of things with a couple little accessories or whatever, it usually runs you $400 to $600. This is actually, at least as far at the moment, it's between 150 and 175, maybe 180, give or take, under 200, let's say. So for the price of one of the others, you could buy 2, maybe 3 of these. And if you think about it that way, this is actually a pretty good deal. So maybe you have a system where you have a main light. Actually, you could use 3 or 4 of these and probably do fine in a studio. Or you could buy, if you have a couple strobes that are $400 to $600 each, that have batteries, and you could take them outdoors and so forth. You could still use that in conjunction with these. So I actually have that. Sometimes I'll shoot I have Chromes kind of like this that are very old, but they're actually pretty much the same thing. And so I use those sometimes. I've had those for like 8, 9, 10 years before you had batteries and before you had like wireless triggers in them, and they work fine. And sometimes I use 4 or 5 lights, and then I'll have one of my more updated strobes with some of the more basic ones like this. So rather than buy 5 strobes for $500 each, maybe buy a strobe that's like $500, and then buy 3 or 4 of these. I don't know, or 2 or 3 of these. Not a bad deal. So I like it actually. So I haven't tested it that much other than what you've seen. And if there's any problems, I'll let you know. But so far, looks pretty good to me.